Welcome to Not a Roofers podcast, where we discuss roofing
without all the jargon. I'm Brianna.
And I'm Charity.
And this is today's episode.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Not a Roofers podcast.
I never thought we'd do an episode like this, but today Charity's actually a guest on the podcast, but she's not alone. We have another guest with us, and we'll let them introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Charity. You all know me.
And I'm Tyler. I am Charity's husband. We got married in February, which I'm told you all know about. And yeah, I hear today is definitely a lot different than the normal podcast.
Yeah, I do want to add in for a second that Tyler is not super new to the podcast. He actually helped us come up with the music that you all hear in the beginning at the end. We have not credited him that at all.
Oh, well then, that's okay.
So yeah, Tyler did help us with the music of the podcast, which is great. Hopefully you all love it. But why are you guests?
Well, because apparently we became TikTok famous.
By mistake.
So listen here. I had 25 followers on TikTok. Posted cute videos of just me and my daughter. No big deal. Then we bought a house and I was like, hey, I have a video idea. Let's a video taking down the wall that leads to a shower. And all of a sudden, 7,000 followers.
Yeah, the amount of traction that video received was absolutely ridiculous. Like, to the point where we had articles written, and not just like local news here where we live, but like global news.
New Zealand,
Australia,
United Kingdom.
I think that was it.
There's bound to be more.
Well, I guess we should start from the beginning, though. So, we purchased this home the end of March, like March 30th.
I thought you were just about to say the end.
No,
like not the end.
The end.
I think we purchased it on like March 30th.
Yeah, that sounds right. So we closed on March 30th.
Yes.
I moved. Well, I moved.
Well, no.
But
Tyler went back to Wisconsin after closing on the house.
Yep, finished my 2 weeks there at my job up there. And in the process of all of that, you had started some work here, but not all work here, like moving stuff in, priming.
But was avoiding the bathroom. Like, I wasn't going to tear down that wall by myself. That wasn't going to happen. Then I went up to Wisconsin for a week and brought Tyler back down with me because he finally got to move in. And we still avoided the wall for another week.
Yeah.
So I think there's a big part of the story that's missing based on everything, that I know. But also that is all over the internet of like, you guys didn't know this was there. So talk about knowing about the shower, okay? Because you knew.
Yeah. So during the original viewing of the house, right? Like we were told that behind this wall there is a shower. However, they didn't state the condition of the shower. All they said is that it was told that there was a draining issue of sorts, but there wasn't any full disclosure as to what was honestly going on.
Okay, so for like clarity's sake, you knew it was there. You just didn't know the condition.
We were told that it was a leaking drain pan. That was all that was disclosed to us. They covered it because they didn't have the money to fix it.
So then let's fast forward a little bit. I know you guys did some stuff on the house, including taking off popcorn ceiling, which I know Charity was excited for. But let's get to the day of making the TikTok and then the like couple days after as it like blew up. Walk me through that.
I mean, it was as simple as Charity looking at me, and we were just kind of sitting around. She's like, "Hey, let's just take that wall out. Let's see what we're working with." I was like, "Yeah, that's fine. It shouldn't be that hard. You know, it's just some fake trim around what looked to be sheetrock. You know." So I walked in and we just started taking it down. I proceeded to hit myself not once but twice in the face with this lovely foam trim that is an absolute nightmare because it doesn't break.
I can't stand the foam trim. Like, why? Just don't use trim or put wood up.
Yeah, that is true. Two choices. But yeah, because the foam trim doesn't really like break off. It just launches off. So I proceeded to hit myself in the face twice, which is real great. Um, but all the trim's off. I'm looking at it going, okay, I have no idea how they did this wall. Some of the stuff that's in this house has been done really poorly, but poorly sometimes also means overcomplicated. So it's not like I could just kick down the wall.
No, because
I'm
we
not
didn't
sure
know
what's in
how
it.
they built the wall.
For all I know, it's just asbestos crammed in there with nails and hodgepodge. Like, I don't know. And so I take the pry bar, and I'm kind of like going around trying to find spots, and then it all broke away, and it was a lot of fun. So we finally get the sheetrock down. It's finally off. And to my amazement, I look in, and believe it or not, they've made the partial wall correct, which was a shock. And I was like, oh, wow, okay, cool. Some 2x4s that we can sell for $35,000. That's awesome, you know? But then I look past the 2x4s and just see this absolutely just hopeless shower.
So when I was told that the drain pan was leaking, I envisioned this fully working shower with just the bottom portion that had a leak in it. And that is not what we found. We found no drain pan. There's no drain pan in there. Pipes that have been just kind of chopped off. Holes in the ceiling and in the walls. And yeah, not at all what we were expecting.
They did leave the shower caddy though, so that's nice.
Well, you have all these other things to fix, but you don't have to buy a shower caddy. Good for you.
We're probably gonna buy a new one.
I would hope so. I would hope so. Okay, so you posted a video about all of this. If people want to see it, below will be the blog post that we wrote about it, and the video is on that blog post. So take a look at that if you haven't seen it already. So you post it. How long did it take to gain traction?
I think I looked at it like 45 minutes after I posted, and I was like, oh, I don't even know how many people had seen it at that point, but I remember looking at Tyler and I'm like, this has the most views that any of my other posts have ever gotten.
Yeah, so I think the first number we were like, it's like, oh yeah, it's gotten like 2,000 views. I'm like, oh, okay, that's actually really good. And then like a couple hours later, like, hey, it's at actually 5,000 views. I'm like, wow, oh, that's actually really impressive.
My brother texted me to let me know. I don't know how many views we were at, but I think I posted this video Thursday night. Mm-hmm. Friday, he texts me all of those emojis, like, I don't know, excited emojis. Younger generation, I don't know. And is all excited, getting views on TikTok, I see, and then goes through for the next 2 days telling me that I'm almost to 1 million views. Like, I'm pretty sure he was following it more than I was.
Well, he cares about those TikTok views.
Yeah, he's that generation.
Okay, so it took a couple days for you guys to get 1 million views. So that was what, Saturday, Sunday? After you posted it?
Saturday. We got 1 million views by Saturday, so okay. 2 days.
And then when did these news articles start popping up? Do you know?
I don't know exactly. Most of the articles were written Monday and Tuesday.
So they were written Monday or Tuesday. When did you find out about articles?
Yesterday.
Okay.
Yes. I found out pretty early in the morning, but yesterday.
So Wednesday, just to clear everybody up, because this will be posted on Friday. Okay, so cool. So you have these articles written about you. We, as a company, Riffmedics, did post our own article. And to just quickly say why, it's because a lot of the information out on the other articles was misleading. I don't want to say it's wrong. Like, they were doing their best, but it was very misleading.
Yeah.
So feelings about the articles in general, just like, I guess, the attention. How do you guys feel about that?
I mean, I don't personally like attention.
I don't care. I am indifferent. I think it's hilarious. I'm glad. I'm sure somebody laughed at it, so I gotta take a little bit of joy from that. I think somebody probably has shown their friends and going, "Hey, aren't you glad your house isn't like this?" I'm sure they loved that, and you know what? It's doing a lot better than my music career, so I'll just take that, hold that close for a little bit, and I'll move on with my life.
We have to make this podcast seem semi-related to what it actually is about, which is about roofing. So, I happen to know, and so does your TikTok followers if they paid attention to that video, that your house came with a very obvious roofing problem. Tell me
Yeah.
about that, and tell me about fixing it, because I know you fixed it.
So, we did get a home inspection, but when it comes to roofing, I'm not going to trust what the home inspector says. Just because I do take all the phone calls for the company, and I do get a lot of phone calls from people who had home inspections like, hey, if I send you over this report, can you get someone to look at it? So as soon as we got the home inspection report, I sent it to the company to have someone look at it. There was nothing about the chimney flashing on our report, but I was able to get an employee up there and be like, hey, what's going on with my roof? Everything look good? Where they informed me that no, there's actually a flashing issue. So as soon as I climbed up onto the roof, the very first words out of my mouth were, isn't the flashing supposed to go under the shingles?
Which, we talked about flashings a couple weeks ago, I think. I don't know the exact date, but we had 2 episodes on flashing. So you were educated.
Yes, I was educated. Even if I wasn't, that's something that very obviously does not look right. So we had the opportunity to help tear that out and put in some new flashing.
So now Tyler's going to tell us about how that went, because I hear he helped with most of it.
Most of it is very generous. Thank you.
I'm only laughing because it was a 6-hour project and I helped for about 45 minutes of that. And I think Tyler also helped for about 45 minutes of that.
Anyway, yeah, so I went up on the roof and we tore out the flashing. We removed, basically loosened the shingles enough so we could get underneath, make sure everything was good. And to quote the person who was up there with us, my soft, supple musician hands were put to work. And so we're ripping off flashing, which is incredibly sharp, which is why that comment was made. However, I was 100% reassured that even over the wording, tough, rough roofing hands could also get cut by it. So that will forever be ingrained in my memory. But a lot of useful tips, a lot of helpful. Good. My wife is just dying here.
Just try not to be heard in the mic.
It's too late.
So it just is exponentially funnier because we know it's your father-in-law who said it to you.
Yeah.
He didn't say it to me.
Well, you don't have soft, supple musician hands.
But my hands are soft.
But they are soft. So anyway, we were, taking flashing off, kind of examining the issues at hand. We did notice another issue while we were up there. However, it's not an issue that needed to be addressed right away. It's just the structural integrity of the actual chimney box that needs to be addressed. But other than that, looking at some other issues possibly down the line, was even, instructed on, hey, this is what you need to look for in your shingles. This is what you need to look for and how you fix it, as well as, what are the other things? The vents.
The vents need to be replaced. Our house is too big. It should have about 6 or 7 vents, and we have 2.
So that's bad.
Yeah, that's not good.
But the shingles are good.
But no, it was good. It was good to get up on the roof. And if you know me, and for those of you who are listening to this because you know I'm on it, you'll know I'm not a huge fan of going up on a roof. It's never been my favorite thing to do. In fact, one of the things I don't like doing is actually getting off the roof. As soon as I'm up on the roof, it's whatever. But as soon as I get off and take the one step off the roof and onto the ladder, it's my most hated thing about roofing. But it's just not my favorite place to be, mostly because it's not my favorite place to be.
Which is really funny because our daughter climbed up there, no problem.
Yeah, she did. And I got the photo when I was at work.
Just chilling at the top of the roof.
To be fair, it runs in the family. My dad likes to tell a story of when I was like 2 or 3 and he was doing roofing work on the house and he was like, Brianna, don't climb on the ladder. And lo and behold, I climbed on the ladder and he's like, no, Brianna, don't climb on the ladder. She just takes after her aunt, really.
Yeah, because he actually told Amelia that story as well. He's like, you know who likes to climb up the ladder just like you? Your Auntie Bree.
Yeah. So, what would you rate your current house journey out of a 10-point scale?
Well, can we do this in like multiple points? Because it gets a 9 for foundation. So it definitely gets points for that. As for everything else, the previous owners were really big do-it-yourselfers. And not always in a good way.
This is why we preach don't do it yourself on this podcast.
Well, and I mean, I'll echo that fully. I mean, if you're not 100% confident, like, just hire someone. Because I would rather hire someone and then be told, hey, here's your bill, but it'll be good for the next 15 years, than do it myself and it be wrecked in 2.
What's the quirkiest thing you found in the entire house?
Oh, do I have a list? The popcorn ceiling. Pretty positive that was done by them. The tile, definitely.
Today, when examining the spot where my washer and dryer are going, I found a whole other section of floor that was never done because they just ran out of flooring and didn't want to buy any more, which wasn't caught on the inspection because they had mats over it to hide it.
The fan that won't
Bad
shut
wiring.
off. Upside down light switches. On is actually
yes.
off and off is actually on.
We have tons of those. Oh, there's one outlet in the whole house that gets turned on by a light switch.
Oh, the light, when they redid the wiring for the kitchen, which they definitely did, there's a light switch to the left of the sink.
For the light above the sink.
That when you turn it on, does nothing because that light is now hardwired to the main light in the kitchen, which is controlled by the switch on the opposite side of the room.
But let's just, there is silver linings. I got a half-acre lot of land.
Anything else that you'd like to add in?
Oh man, it's gonna be. I mean, that's the thing, is owning a house is never an easy thing, and I'm not speaking from experience. I'm just speaking from people I've known who've owned multiple homes. There's always projects because it's not the way you want it to be. But I guess if you can learn anything out of this, if you're listening and you always want to take away, I think the takeaway here is simply expect the unexpected, and if you can't fix it yourself, pay someone to finish it.
Just a few things to note in case we didn't say it earlier. We got a home inspection done. They cannot tear down walls.
Yeah.
And we bought a fixer-upper knowing it had to be fixed. We did not go into this house being like, oh yeah, this fixer-upper, it's going to be perfectly remodeled when we move it. No, we're not dumb.
Just ambitious.
We knew what we were getting into.
Thank you, Tyler, for taking some time out of your day to join us. I'm not going to thank Charity because she normally has to be here anyway.
It's true. You know what? And it's been great being on this podcast.
If anyone wants to find Tyler's music because you just love our intro and outro so much, we can link all of his musician stuff below.
Oh, you're too kind.
Well, thank you all listeners for joining us on this very odd episode of Not a Roofers Podcast. This is not normal for us. If you've joined us for a while, you know that. But in the meantime, if you have any questions about roofing or you really just want to hear more about Charity and Tyler's house experience, I guess you can contact us by emailing us at marketing@roofmedics.com or finding us on any of our social media sites. Those are all linked below. And we will be back on Monday with an episode about weathering with our normally scheduled programming about roofing.
Bye!
That brings us to the end of today's episode. If you've been loving what you're hearing, make sure to press the subscribe button so you get notified anytime we post a new episode. Episodes come out on Monday and Fridays. Please feel free to share this podcast with a friend. We'd love everybody to be able to join us and learn more about the roofing industry as we go along on this journey. If you don't already, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. I will put all of our information down in the show notes below. Feel free to contact us with any questions or any any roofing ideas that you would love for us to talk about. I hope you have a great day, and we will see you next time.